Hey, well, kia ora, good afternoon, good morning, everybody. Can I just say thank you so much for being with us here. It's been a very productive 24 hours. I think the big takeaways for us is this relationship's in as good a heart as it's ever been. I think the second big thing, it was a good engagement yesterday in Brisbane with the Premier, but also with the Brisbane 2032 Olympics, and that's going to be a very big event that's of great interest to New Zealand. And I think the third thing was really just good business conversation with the senior business leaders today about what more we can do economically together. But with that, happy to take your questions.
Prime Minister, this meeting has really been about making that Australian-New Zealand business relationship more seamless. What are the key areas that you see as being, or that you spoke about and that you see as being the most critical at this time?
Yeah, look, there was a set of work that we had tasked the business leaders to go away with, and they'll continue to continue that work. But it really falls into three buckets. The first is standards. How do we just take the barnacles off the boat and make things go faster between more aligned standards between our two countries? The second bucket of thinking was really around AI, data centres, and cyber security. That actually thinking about a common approach and common protocols around those issues would be very helpful. And the third thing was the point I was trying to make at the end of the stand-up before, was just that there's a massive trade opportunity in a world of great uncertainty, that actually New Zealand and Australia are good safe havens. We have what the world wants, so let's get up and giddy up and get out there in the world and sell some stuff.
What kind of tangible progress do you feel like you made on those areas today?
Yeah, we did. I think we put good definition to them, and I think the engagement we've had from the CEOs on both sides has been really very, very good. We're both very impressed by it. I think it moved the conversation on from what we'd had a year ago in Queenstown for sure.
Was there anything you learnt that you didn't know before coming to this event?
In what way?
Well, is there anything that you've sort of, kind of taken from this event that, new insights or anything like that?
Not really, but it's given me more, emphasis to what I've been reiterating in recent weeks at home, is that, we both have an assessment that the world is increasingly volatile and uncertain. I've talked about it, extensively, that it is moving from a multilateral to a multipolar world. There are these shifts and these inflection points in our history, and we can control some of that, and we can work together with friends and have agency and influence it. But ultimately, it underscores again why we need to find our friends and our partners in a very uncertain world, and to be bolder and to be braver and do even more things together, internationally, but also in our respective economic relationships as well.
How important is the Australian economy and what you've taken from this event to New Zealand back home?
Yeah, look, really important. It always has been, over the last 40 years. And so, for us, it's our biggest and most significant economic partner, really, in terms of foreign direct investment into New Zealand. It's our third biggest, source of exports, I think, from memory. And there's just so much connectivity between the two places. So, it's in both of our interests to make sure both our countries are performing well.
There was really no appetite in there to touch on or speak on the other's domestic political issues, but you are both Prime Ministers facing pressure from a minor party. Why is it that people these days are not supporting as much the major parties?
Well, I think every country has a slightly different set of context, and if you think about the New Zealand piece, we have an MMP system. It's handled minor parties for a long period of time. You've seen us form a three-party coalition government that's functioned very well and been given strong and stable government to New Zealand. So I appreciate maybe of an interest to you, but, around the, as I said there as Prime Minister of New Zealand, dealing with what I deal with, we've had minor parties in the New Zealand Parliament for over 30 years.
Albanese admitted, though, that he made a decision around a tax policy in regards to pressure from that other party. Is that something that you're at risk of going into this election?
No, I'm worried. I'm Prime Minister of New Zealand, and I worry about the domestic settings in New Zealand. And as I said to you, we've had an MMP environment with multiple parties, with multiple propositions, talking to lots of different constituencies across New Zealand for some period of time. That's just our political environment in New Zealand. My job is to make sure that I'm managing this economy well, helping people deal with affordability challenges they've been experiencing, and getting this economy through a crisis and actually up on the other side with as little damage to inflation and economic growth, so that New Zealanders can go ahead.
I know you've spoken about the nuclear submarines issue quite a lot already, but what was your reaction to Prime Minister Albanese saying that when the time does come, the two defence entities will work together in respect of New Zealand's stance on nuclear power and nuclear propulsion?
Well, there's no real change. I mean, when I came here in November 2023, you'll remember I stood in front of media and took the same question, and it's the same answer, which is there is no change to our nuclear-free position. And Australia and all of our partners have understood that, and we express that and continue to express it very clearly. And that's well understood.
In response, though, to my question, he didn't give a firm, clear statement that Australia wouldn't expect New Zealand to change. So that conversation could come up.
I think you heard him acknowledge that there are sovereign nations, that we're different sovereign nations, and we act in our own national interests, and we collaborate as much as we possibly can, and that's and you've seen that. I mean, we've taken it to a whole new level in terms of our defence and security integration, and the alignment that we have between our two systems is fantastic. It's really step changed big time in the last 2 years. But with respect to our nuclear-free position, it's just not going to change. That's period. It's a long-standing position. Law passed in 1987, broad political spectrum across the New Zealand domestic environment. The New Zealand public, by and large, no appetite for change, and importantly, it's not going to change under I'm Prime Minister for sure.
I spoke to an Australian maritime security specialist. She said that this could potentially. She acknowledges it's not an issue, right? There's no expectation from Australia for New Zealand to change, but it could disadvantage New Zealand, and New Zealand would therefore rely on Australia to conduct those submarine-related things in a conflict. So does this put us at a disadvantage in the future? No,
I mean, you've seen, as I said to you, in the last 12 months we've had 15 joint exercises between the Australian and New Zealand Defence Forces. Increasingly you're seeing even today, our Seahawk helicopters that we've got on order. When you think about the P8s that we've procured recently, the Hercules that we've procured recently, we're about to go through a frigate tender process as well. Increasingly we've got interoperability in terms of the same kit, the same equipment, the same standards. That hasn't always been the case in New Zealand. And so, and between New Zealand and Australia, now it is. And as I said, we have New Zealand pilots flying Australian kit, we have Australian pilots flying New Zealand kit, because it's the same. And so the more that we can be integrated in that way, that's exactly what we want to do more of.
There won't be any New Zealand soldiers on those subs, though, will there?
Well, again, I've just said to you, I don't know how to be any clearer with. I appreciate you may want to make it into a story, but I've been clear over the last week. I've said to you there was no change to our nuclear-free position. I've said to you that Australia and all of our partners understand the position well. I appreciate it may be an issue you wish to raise, but that is the reality of it. There's no change.
Conscious you probably won't go into the details of this, but did you raise this issue regarding Taiwan and these 4 MPs?
Well, we've obviously talked about it informally. You heard us both talk to it in the press conference today as well, which is that our position very clearly is that backbench MPs in the Parliament are not part of the executive government. They're part of the legislature. They've always been free to accept invitations to travel to Taiwan and see who they wish to. It's been a long-standing position. There has been no change in our one China policy, and we've continued to maintain that. And so that's why we have raised our concerns seriously with the Chinese to understand where they're coming from on this, because from our point of view, there's been no change in the MP practice, and there's certainly been no change in the adoption of our one China policy.
What was the response from China when you raised the issue?
Well, we've raised those concerns, and that'll be an ongoing conversation just in the last 12 hours, 24 hours.
Have they given you any indication they may reverse the ban?
Not that I'm aware of, no, but I've been here, obviously, and I haven't travelled with the conversation that deeply at this point. Okay, thanks so much, Lee. Have a good day.
You too.